All right, let's go ahead and finish this section off. But first, we have to define some things. So, what does it mean when we say a function is increasing? So, rather than get all technical, um, it just basically means where does the graph go up? So, it's decreasing when the graph goes down. And that's pretty much it. When you get to calculus, there's a whole formal definition of it, but for now, that's all you got to know. You can also take that with you to calculus. Um, okay, the local max, again, this is just a layman's definition. So local maximum is just talking about like a little section, not the entire graph. So just sort of relative to its position. So basically for a local maximum, you're looking for the top of any hill. And another way to look at it too is probably a little bit more useful is where the graph switches from increasing to decreasing. So where it switches from where the graph goes up to where it goes down. So anytime that happens, that means you have a local maximum. So the local minimum, that's kind of the reverse. So instead of being at the top of a hill, it's at the bottom of any valley. And it's where the graph switches from decreasing or going down to increasing. So we have a local maximum and a local minimum, but we also have a category called absolute max and absolute min. So these are the absolute highest for the max and the absolute lowest values on the entire graph. So we're only going to be looking at graphs that have over an interval, on a closed interval, instead of like going on forever and ever and ever. So we're going to use this graph here to answer questions to help kind of figure all these definitions out. So part A, where is this function increasing? So I want to know on what x values does this function actually go up? So you're going to read it from left to right. And the first thing that the graph does is it goes up. So it's going up from this point all the way up to there. So it's starting at when x is -3 and it keeps going up until you get to x equals -1. Well, once it gets to x equals -1, it switches and then it falls, it decreases. Well, then it changes again when x is 1 and it starts to go back up. And then the graph stops at 3. Now when you give these intervals of increasing and decreasing, you're always going to make them with parentheses as opposed to closed brackets. Okay, now B, where is f decreasing? Well, we kind of talked about it. It's going down from -1 to 1. Okay, now again, these right here, these are intervals that I've written. They're not points. I'm not saying when you've got the point -3 and -1, that would be here. I'm not listing out points. I'm listing out just x values. All right, so part C, identify all local max and min values and where they are located. So local max, that's where it switched from increasing to decreasing. So where it switched from going up to going down, well, that happened right here. So the maximum value is the y value. So the max value is the 1. And when it says where they are located, it wants to know the x value. So the max and the min is the y. The location is the x. So the max is 1 when x is -1. And then for the local min, now you want it from where it decreased, switched from going decreasing to increasing. So that happened right there. So the value itself is the -1. And where did it happen? Well, it happened right when x is 1. Okay, so again, the local max, local min, the actual values themselves are the y values, the location are the x values. And the same would be true for the absolute max and min. The actual values are the y's, the locations are the x's. Okay, so the absolute max, you're looking at your graph going, okay, what is the actual highest or the largest y value on this entire graph? Well, that would be right there. That point. This point here, that is the highest on the entire curve. So the max value itself is 3. And then the location is the x value that goes with it. So that would be when x is +3. The min, value is like, okay, well, what's the actual lowest y value on this entire curve? Well, that would be over here. So the value itself is -3, because that's the y. And then the location is the x. Okay, now the absolute max and mins, they don't always occur at the endpoint. Sometimes they're in the middle somewhere, but you're still looking for the highest actual value and then the lowest actual value. There can be a tie, like there might be more than one spot that it happens, and that's okay. You just have 2 locations. Okay, so that is going to do it for section 2.3. Go ahead and try the homework out and let me know if you have any questions.